Hey guys, let's talk about something real. Motherhood will bring you closer to God and expose a lot of demons. Let's get to it. Now, this topic is going to be very hard for me because it's tapping into my empathic, I guess that's what they call it. I'm an empath, so it's going to be tapping into that area. It's going to be tapping into some experiences that I've been having, whether it's earlier in life or recently. It's going to be talking about things I've noticed, things I've seen for myself. And if it's going to be a trigger warning for you, then listen, you might want to step out of this video now. But if you notice some of these things yourself, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get into it. Motherhood will bring you closer to God. I don't know what it is, but when I had my son, it taught me some things, right? But when I had my daughter, it has put me on a different spiritual path. It's put me, and it might be because of age too. When I had my son, I was 25, and now that I had my daughter, I was 38. So there's a big difference. There's some maturation that happened during that big 13-year gap, 14-year gap. And I can definitely tell you, like, each time, both times, I have been brought closer to God, even though I've already had like an intact relationship with God. But it definitely put me on the side of seeing God's miracles, seeing what he could truly do, and seeing how I am a part of what he's doing, right? But the other side of that is it will expose a lot of demons around you. It will expose people's demons within them that they battle with. It will expose even moments where you are having a moment where the demon is probably in you if you are having a weak moment at that time. But the more you grow spiritually, the more you realize this is also a part of the assignment. That's essentially what I've been learning. And because you're growing more spiritually, your discernment changes. And that's basically what's happening when you become a mom. Not only just the physical parts, but in the emotional side, but your spirit changes. Your spirit becomes more keen. Your discernment becomes more keen as you grow closer to God and as you build relationship with God. And let's just break that down a little bit more. The first point is, and you're going to see me looking down because I'm attempting to keep my notes. I'm going to have to stop this video at some point to go get my baby because she's starting to, wake up because motherhood. The first thing is your awareness changes, right? You start noticing people differently. You start recognizing their energy. You start listening to the words they say. You see their intentions. You see what they do and don't do, the way they move, the way their tone is, the way they are around you and your child or children. You start picking that up immediately. And it's not that you're looking for it. It automatically shows up because something is attempting to be presented to you in that moment. And the only thing you can do is pray about it in that moment, but really pay attention and decide whether that is a place of safety or if you want to keep your child there and yourself there because it's coming to your attention for a reason, right? It's not just there just because. So your awareness changes when you become a mom. It starts to point out energy bigger than what it did before. For someone like me who's big on like energy, who's a fire sign, whether you believe in that or whatever, I notice things off break, especially being an empath, especially being somebody who's intuitive. It runs in my family on both sides. I notice a lot that I wish I didn't notice sometimes, because it's a lot. It could be a lot emotionally and mentally sometimes, because it always has me in the process of needing to do. But that's when I have to rely on God and rely on God's faithfulness to know that He got my back, and that anything that happens outside of the realm of my spirit, as long as I remain disciplined in that moment, He got me. But the problem is, right? The problem is, because we're going to be honest, the problem is that I don't always have the patience for people and their shenanigans. And I think that because most of the time I'm so calm and I'm so relaxed and I'm so forgiving of people, that other tiny percentage of the time when people are getting on my nerves, like really bad, it's going to come out because I'm just tired at that point. So that's the human in me. But when I am being disciplined and faithful and putting my trust in God, things work itself out and people are dealt with accordingly. Okay. Now I gotta go pause this video because my baby. Okay, y'all, we gotta make this quick because my little boss baby is in her high chair. We only got a few minutes while she's eating, so let's make this quick because she likes to climb out of her chair now. So yeah. Okay, so I think we were on the part 2.2, right? Let me see my notes. I think we're on point 2. Your discernment gets sharper, right? The things you used to overlook before becoming a mom, or when you were single and all of that stuff, before you had another child, you can't overlook those things anymore. You can't ignore it anymore. It automatically draws your attention. Your spirit starts picking up things your eyes didn't see before because your spirit picks it up easily. So what happens is the energy the bad vibes that you might be feeling from someone, the weird, the awkward feeling that you may be getting from someone, they may be going through their own thing. And you're able to pick that up easily now because for some reason you got this keen sense of not just smell. You know, they say when you become a mom, you gain more senses. Your senses become more sharper, but not just that, your spirit becomes more sharper. You know what I mean? So your spirit starts picking up on things that that it didn't see before. So if you ended up partnering with someone who was not in the right spiritual place, but you overlooked it because maybe you were in the right spiritual place, or maybe you were just looking at potential, or maybe you were, I don't know what the case may be, but I'm just saying that when you didn't have that spiritual discernment, you did what you wanted to do. However, once you become a mom, you are more mindful and more cautious about what you do, who you interact with. And that's based on their spirit, their energy, their vibrations, their lack of vibrations, their awkward, weird stage or whatever they're going through. You pick it up and you might not know exactly what it is, but you know it's something. And they're not going to say what it is because you know why? The devil likes to have access to an easy target, a playing field, right? That the easy target becomes the enemy's playing field. And what happens is it becomes a trap. It becomes a trap, which leads me up to the next point 3. Okay, I had to relocate so I can watch my baby because clearly, you know, active toddler. And on top of that, I can't rub her like I normally can right now because my foot, but that's a whole different story. So I think the last thing we were talking about was the trap, right? And hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me see. I might have to turn her little music down real quick because I don't want them to say it's copyright issues and all of that. But since this is real life motherhood, I'm giving y'all the raw. Okay, I'm just saying. And of course, you're gonna see her come through here because that's what she does. Point 3 is the trap. Point 3 is the trap. as someone who is spiritually grounded in God, and I'm just saying God in particular because I had a relationship with God before I ever had a relationship with religion. And I always followed that. I always followed God. I always heard God's voice very clearly. And I have stories that I could tell on some, anyway, we're not gonna get to that. But the trap, right? When you feel people's energy, when you know like the devil is playing in their faces and using them, you do your best to move away from it. But the human in you, right? Because we're still human, and let's not pretend like I'm perfect, because I'm not. But the human in me realizes and recognizes that somebody is playing in my face, and something has to be said about it. Because one thing about me is that I hold people accountable, and I allow people who has the say so, I guess, or who are a little bit ahead of me to hold me accountable as well during a moment. But I think sometimes we fall into a trap of, if that person's energy is not good, or if that person's energy may be opening up a wound that was initially closed, or may not have been closed from either past situations with when you were growing up, or from past relationships, or from something that they did that contributed to that wound, or created the wound. You respond at their level, and that's not what God wants us to do. So you find yourself matching their energy. You find yourself being pulled out of alignment, and that's not what God needs. You're a mom, right? You have intuition. You have all of these things that were God given to you, right? And you're a leader in your own right. And so the last thing you need to be doing is matching somebody's energy. And trust me, when I say this, I'm telling myself this too, because most of the time I get it right. But that percentage of the time when I get it wrong and I fail the test, I be so mad with myself, because I'm like, but I knew that person was already being used by the enemy, by bad spirits, and I still did it because I was so irritated by the fact that they are allowing themselves to be used, by the fact that they are refusing to be stronger, by the fact that they are refusing to come together with me to fight the problem and not create more of a bigger problem. So that's where we become pulled out of alignment. But as a mom, even with kids, my kids are not always going to listen to what I say. My kids are going to be out of alignment with some of the things that I'm going to tell them, and some of the things that they're going to be doing versus what I'm teaching them. So how I respond to that is totally on me. Hold on a second. I don't want nothing to be dropping and breaking. How I set the standard falls back on me, and I'm not talking about anybody else right now. I'm just talking about the trap of being a mom and falling into other people's sinkholes. It's a reason why I'm the leader of these kids, right? I'm the leader for them because I use my discernment, my intuition, and all the other elements that make me woman to guide these kids, because that's what God want me to do. He want me to guide these kids, but that's his kids technically, right? I was just the vessel. So when I allow myself to match low vibrational energy with others during their low points, the only thing is showing my kids that it's okay to allow the same thing. It's okay to be blackballed by the same energy. It's okay to settle. It's okay to be used. It's okay. Like, it's okay. And it's not. Because one thing both of my kids will tell you, even my toddler, they will tell you that one thing my mother gonna do is pray over me and pray with me or send me a prayer. That's the one thing my mother will do. They will both tell you that. I mean, my baby can't talk, but she would definitely tell you, put her hands together, and she would say amen. All right. I'm just saying. But the whole point is, when that happens, right, when that happens, that being motherhood bringing you closer to God and exposing a lot of unhealed trauma in others, right? That's essentially what it is. You have to decide something. I'm going to pray about it. Then I'm going to do something about it, right? And depending on what you do about it is what's going to determine a lot. But that brings me to point 4, the lesson. Most of the time when God speaks to me about him using me for a specific situation or person or people, I have to be diligent to follow through and trust that everything is going to pan out accordingly. And the challenge for me is not inserting myself into what's happening, because God may tell me, I just need you to do this part. As a mom, as a woman, I just need you to relate the message. As a child of God, I need you to do this. I need you to act this way. I need you to be this. And when I say in those moments, like, God, use me, I got to be mindful of that. When you say that to God, you are opening yourself up for whatever way he's going to use you. And it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be just ratchet sometimes. But the lesson, there's always a lesson. There's always, almost often, a lesson. You realize you can't keep exposing yourself to toxicity while attempting to walk in love and faith, while attempting to follow the path God gives you. You cannot continue to put yourself in environments or around people or in situations that keep exposing you and your children to toxicity or whatever the case may be. You can't. As a mom, it's not your problem to help people heal. That's God's business. As a mom, your job and your role is to these kids. So if you are interacting with other adults on any level, and they have some things within themselves that you clearly see, and you know it because you are close with God and God has already told you what's going to be revealed, your place is to attend to them kids and or remove yourself from the situation. And I'm learning that when I prolong, it dilutes my spirit. And when my spirit is being diluted, I can't be the best version of a mom for my kids. So I know this was kind of all over the place because I was attempting to keep focus, but I'm watching my child and attempting to watch my notes, and because I ain't write a lot of notes, and I'm attempting to be mindful of certain things. I do have family on this channel. I mean, I still have to speak my truth because I'm connected to God. God is going to deal with me, not anybody else. The whole point of the matter is that I attempt to come respectful on my videos because I want to be understood, but also just give a different perspective. It's not even if you guys didn't understand this message, even if you're like, I disagree with the whole thing, that's fine, but can we do it respectfully? So in closing, I guess, motherhood will bring you closer to God. Like, these are his kids that you brought into this world. But it will also teach you who and what you need to keep distance from. And yes, you may care about people, and yes, you may love people, and yes, you may like people, and yes, you may want to be the best thing to people, but You need to go to God and ask what your role is and was in that situation and leave that on God. The more in tune I am with God and walk in relationship with God, the more I'm realizing like I can be a vessel and I can be an example the best that I can. But at the end of the day, we are all God's children, and you're going to have to answer to God at the end of the day. So I, as a human, have to remind myself to stay the course, stay disciplined, stay diligent, and keep the faith in God. God is also practical. He wants us to do and not just always rely on him. So when he's telling us to do something and we don't do it, then we're being disobedient as well. So if you are in close relationship with God, and you're being disobedient, then he deals with you just like he deals with me. So that's the message. I hope this made sense. I know this is a long video, but we'll be talking about it more throughout time. Let me know how you feel about it, what you think about it, respectfully. And hopefully we can start some dialogue on it. But as I am continuing on my journey of motherhood and healing from the past, because I've healed a lot of it, but I noticed that sometimes certain things can happen and it reopens a wound, especially if it's somebody who I truly care about, who refuses to look inward, or who refuses to heal, or who refuses to get closer to God, or whatever the case may be. That's not on me. That's on them. And I have to remove myself from being responsible for that. However, if something or someone or situation is impacting me to where my spirit is altered, to where I cannot be a mother, that's when something has to happen. Because that's what has to happen. And God can only use what you allow him to use of you, right? I hope this made sense. If you could appreciate this message, if it resonated with you in any type of way, let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe. And if you stayed this long, I appreciate it. It was a rant, but it was supposed to be a more organized, thought out topic. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, I guess. Y'all stay focused, stay prayed up, and continue to be the best mother you can be. Peace.